Welcome back. Kansas ARCA 99 about to get underway. The engines are fired. Drivers all strapped in as we're getting ready for 99 laps around this mile-and-a-half racetrack. Cars all lined up on pit road. And the starting grid is going to roll across the top of your screen. Again, Max Gresham winning his third career pole in the ARCA Racing Series. It's his second of 2011. So he will bring the field to the green flag. And Venerini Motorsports teammate Alex Bowman will start on the outside of row number 1. And a pretty impressive first start for Alex Bowman. Gets his win at Madison, comes back here, starts second in this race.
Yeah, and the first time he's ever been on a super speedway. Dover last week was the biggest racetrack he'd ever been on. He also ran the K&N Pro Series East Division race there at Dover.
I want to take a look at our track description and race analysis for this mile-and-a-half Kansas Speedway.
See this great racetrack here, 15-degree banking in the corners. They're going to repave this racetrack sometime in the middle of next year. See the front stretch is obviously a tri-oval. Backstretch bank 5 degrees. Fast racetrack. Speeds upwards of 190 miles an hour as they enter the corner. You see our pit window somewhere between 60 and 70 laps.
Ty Dillon winning this race a year ago. That was his first of 9 career wins in the ARCA Racing Series, 7 of those coming in 2011. Want to do our speed spotlight, shining a light on a few different ARCA drivers, and we'll begin with Ray Dunlap.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'd like to take a look at car number 32. How about Ryan Wilson? He comes from Randleman, North Carolina. He'd like to make the Wilsons the second most famous racing family from that town. But he's got a brand new sponsorship this weekend from Champion Oil, and they're located just about 70 miles from right here at Kansas Speedway, and they've got a lot of folks in the grandstands tonight dipping their toes in the water here in ARCA, and young Ryan, who's won a lot of races in late models, just learning about this kind of racing, hoping to have a top 5 run tonight here at the Kansas Speedway.
John Blankenship, this is his first year on pavement. Ray, he's usually used to racing on dirt. Actually, he races about 60 to 70 dirt late model races every year, including this season as well. He's a busy man at 30 years old, comes out of Knoxville, and he and his wife Heather are expecting their first baby. When it comes to racing, though, chassis number 79 for John Blankenship. He won with this car, Steve Arpin won with this car last year at Texas, and this car sat on the pole earlier this season at Chicago with Josh Richards at the wheel. So we know this car is awfully good at this type of racetrack. Phil?
Wendy, I'd like to shine a spotlight on 18-year-old Tucson, Arizona driver Alex Bowman. Alex got his start in quarter midgets, winning 6 national titles. He led all drivers in combined USAC Open wheel wins in 2008 and was named the USAC Midget Driver of the Year. After making the move to stock cars in 2009, he ran the full schedule in the K&N East Division this season, finishing 6th in points and winning Rookie of the Year. Alex made his ARCA debut in August at Madison, Wisconsin, as you mentioned before, grabbing the win over Chris Buescher. He will start from the outside of the front row in his St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital Toyota. Rick?
Yeah, Phil, my spotlight driver also has 1 win in the ARCA Racing Series. He's driving the number 52 Federated Auto Parts Chevrolet. Yes, the colors are a bit different than they normally look on this race car. That's because Ann Schrader called Federated and said, guys, what would it be like if we made that car pink? Because of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And Ann has 2 close friends that lost their lives to that disease, Lisa Maloney and Laura Jones, just losing their lives recently. So a very near and dear cause to her heart, and so the car looks beautiful this evening. Tom Hesser, currently 7th in the point standings. He finished 6th in this race a year ago. We'll see how he does this evening. So the cars are rolling around the mile-and-a-half. They're heating the tires up. Everything, temperatures are coming up in the cars. And we'll get the green flag when we return. Tomorrow on Speed, it's the legendary Bathurst 1000. It is live on Speed. It's a race that's so big, we decided we'd send our big shooters. Darrell Waltrip and Mike Joy will call all the action for the Australian V8 Supercars Bathurst 1000. That's tomorrow at 7 o'clock Eastern. And DW had a wild ride while he was there in Bathurst, just to get an idea of what the track was like. The 1998 champ Jason Bright took him around.
Yeah, and he sat on the left side. Obviously, that's a right-hand drive car. And I'm telling you, after watching this race tomorrow night, we will know why Marcus Ambrose is so good.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, those guys are really, really good.
2-time champion of the V8 series. Let's go down trackside for our thoughts before green. We'll start with Wendy Venerini.
Thank you, Rick. There's many drivers in this field that are going for championships, one like Ty Dillon, but there's many drivers that have nothing on the line but a victory tonight. It's an all-out battle, and their goal is to get to victory lane and get the trophy here from Kansas Speedway. There's no points and no pressure for many of these drivers in that field, so we're going to be watching a lot of those guys to see what they can get out of this one-and-done race kind of event for them. Ray?
You know, Wendy, people ask me all the time, what's your favorite part of your job? And I always say go into victory lane with a first-time winner. And that's very likely when you come to a race in the ARCA Series. Well, when we look back over the last 4 seasons, how about 27 different first-time winners? The guy that leads them from the green on the pole tonight is our most recent first-time winner. And I want to put a couple names on that list. How about Chad Hockenbraugh and maybe Grant Enfinger? Tonight could be their night.
38 cars in the field, about to take on this mile-and-a-half racetrack for 99 laps. We talked about the fuel window, anywhere from 60 to 70 laps, so that will come into play tonight. We'll find out who can maneuver through the traffic as well. Again, out in front, Max Gresham and Alex Bowman making up row number 1.
That's an awfully potent row number 2 there. Ty Dillon, Cale Gale. And remember, Ty Dillon made his debut at Iowa last year in the ARCA Racing Series, and you know who his crew chief was, right?
Yes.
Cale Gale. The guy that's starting outside of him right now.
Cale Gale. We're going to ride along with a few different drivers as well. One of those being Matt Lofton. He'll carry our camera in the number 16 car. We'll see how he does as he starts in the 36th position. Had a wild ride in qualifying. That's why he starts back there. Had a pretty good car in practice earlier, though.
Yeah, he sure did. We're also going to ride along with a former winner here, Scott Lagasse. Won here back in 2007, and he will start from the 6th spot.
3 drivers in the field have won at this racetrack. We've talked about Ty Dillon winning a year ago, Scott Lagasse winning in 07. Well, Frank Kimmel, a guy who hasn't won since 2008, he's also won at this racetrack twice, as a matter of fact, back in 2002 and in 2006. Talked about that wild ride that Matt Lofton had earlier in qualifying. A couple drivers struggled. This was Matt Lofton's struggle. They had to change tires on that race car after his qualifying run, so he will start at the back of the field.
Yeah, the most important thing, though, no contact with anything.
Also, the 12 of Mary-Eve Defoe also getting sideways in qualifying, but wants to go straight now. Green flag in the air. We're underway. Looking to make it too wide going into turn number 1. This time it's Ty Dillon with the charge on the inside. Gresham on the outside, a little bobble. Ty Dillon wants to lead the first lap as they go down the backstretch.
Remember, a 5-point bonus for leading a lap here in the ARCA Racing Series. Let's see who's going to get it on lap 1.
Down on the bottom of the racetrack, it's that 41 of Ty Dillon. He chases the race car up a little bit as Max Gresham on the high side in the 25. And here comes the 55 of Alex Bowman. Across the stripe, who will it be leading lap 1? It's Ty Dillon in the 41.
Looks like Alex Bowman is going to follow Ty on the inside. You see some sparks, low air pressure with all these cars right now. That should get better.
It is cooling off. Again, the first ever night race at Kansas Speedway, and you're seeing it right here on Speed.
I think we're going to see a battle all night between Ty Dillon, this 41 car, and the Venerini Motorsports tandem. We actually have 3 very, very potent Venerini Motorsports cars. There's 2 of them right now side by side, Gresham and Bowman.
Going for the 2nd spot. Again, Max Gresham in the 25, Alex Bowman in the 55. See Chris Buescher in the 17, winner of the last 2 races for the ARCA Racing Series. Cale Gale's dropped back behind him.
You know, Chris Buescher got a couple wins last year in a limited schedule, ran full-time this year, as you mentioned. 5 second-place finishes before he broke through, and then waited 1 week and got another one.
Chad Hockenbraugh on the outside of Chad McCumbee. 2 Chads battling for the 10th spot. You see Wayne Peterson in the 0 pulling off the racetrack. Those 2 again continuing to battle for 10th. McCumbee and Hockenbraugh. McCumbee won earlier this year.
There's Chris Buescher trying to make his way by Gresham for the 3rd spot.
So Gresham, after starting on the pole, has already dropped back to 3rd and may lose that spot as Buescher works to the inside now. Fast for 1 lap. Maybe when the tires come back up to pressure, he'll be able to get back on that run that he was able to do in qualifying.
Look right side of your screen. That's Chad McCumbee in the 1. The 31 of Tim George, also a winner this year. There's Hockenbraugh in the 58, and then Frank Kimmel in the 44. Frank looks to the inside of Hockenbraugh.
Frank Kimmel's best finish this year has been second at Talladega early in the season. He's had an amazing season, but it pales in comparison to what Ty Dillon has been able to do.
He's had an amazing career in the ARCA Series. 74 career wins and 9 championships.
The momentum continuing, though, for Chris Buescher as he battles side by side with Gresham, Ray.
And you know, Rick, you mentioned that Chris Buescher has run the whole deal, but throughout the course of this season, they were never quite sure whether that was going to happen from week to week. I talked to Gary Rouleau, team manager, on this 17, and he said just a few days before Springfield, they weren't totally sure they were going, so it's been piecemeal here and there. I asked him, what are you guys planning for next year? He said, we're not exactly sure yet. The cat in the hat hasn't told us, and of course he's referring to Jack Roush, but these guys very, very high on this young driver, Chris Buescher, and as you said, the results have been proven in the pudding.
Yeah, the last 2 races going to victory lane as we see race leader Ty Dillon already starting to put a few cars a lap down.
Yeah, Chris Buescher was actually signed as a driver development situation for Jack Roush before he turned 18 years old. I know David Reagan is really, really high on that young man.
And now it looks as though Gresham starting to get some of that momentum back as he gets back to the back bumper of Chris Buescher. Again, Buescher running in the 3rd spot.
You see the front skirts on those cars. Remember, these are the old style. No splitter on these ARCA Racing Series cars. You see in the corner, those skirts are just about the same distance off the racetrack than they are. But on the front straightaway and the back straightaway, the 25 of Max Gresham's skirt is a little bit lower than the 17 of Chris Buescher. A little bit different aero platform.
A little bit more aerodynamic for that 25. We'll see if it works for the 25. There's Max Gresham still running just in front of Alex Bowman. Again, Bowman starting his first ever race on a 1.5-mile racetrack in an ARCA Racing Series car.
Yeah, and I was talking to Alex. He actually was fortunate enough to test here a little while ago, a week or 2 ago. But he said in race trim, he had a really, really good race car. They really felt like they had a good shot at this thing. And right now, he's chased down Ty Dillon. Ty opened up about a 2nd lead over Alex, and now Alex has caught him.
Wendy, what are you hearing with that 55 team?
Well, when I talked to Alex before the race, he said the same thing, that they were coming into this event just trying to gain experience and get that win on the biggest track he's ever raced at. Last week at Dover was the previous biggest track, and you know what Dover is? They call it the Monster Mile, and that track, he said, had such a sensation of speed. He had a blast racing at Dover, and when he came here to Kansas, he was hoping to keep that momentum going. He just wrapped up his K&M Pro East Series Rookie of the Year title last week at Dover, so he's coming off a high from that series, and it's going to continue on. He has 2 more Pro Series races left in this season as well. Ray?
Wendy, let's talk a little bit about Max Gresham in the number 25 car. He's very good on his entry into 1 and 2, but not so hot in 3 and 4. He said the car is a good bit tight, and Billy Venturini, his crew chief, asked him how tight. He said, I'll go a 5.5 or a 6 on a 1 to 10 scale. So not good coming off a 4 for the 25 team.
You know, talking with Billy Venturini and Max Gresham before the race and actually before qualifying, they said in race run they thought this car was the car to beat. So they weren't sure how it was going to qualify, and then they end up winning the Menards Pole presented by Ansel. So pretty amazing day for Max Gresham, but right now it's points leader Ty Dillon out in front. Welcome back. Kansas ARCA 99 underway from Kansas Speedway. Under the lights, there's the difference between 1 and 2. Ty Dillon out in front in the 41. And Alex Bowman in the 55, currently running second, about 3 car lengths back.
We heard Wendy talk about Alex Bowman. This is the biggest racetrack he's ever been on. He doesn't look like a rookie at this racetrack. He really looks like a veteran. Really, really wise beyond his years for an 18-year-old. Hey, there's that 16 car right there. Matt Lofton. Get a little bit loose right there. But loose. Remember, we documented that he had to go to the back of the pack. We saw him spin during qualifying. He's already up to the 16th spot. Moving in on the 82 car right now, Sean Corr in a battle for the 15th spot. So a good pickup early on for Matt Lofton, the Strutmasters.com Chevrolet.
Difficult situation, him working through the field to try to get up to the front. Again, had a pretty good car in practice earlier today, so has to work by some of the slower cars that he was able to run faster than during practice, but he didn't qualify as well.
Yeah, that's a strong, strong team here. As the battle for the lead here closes up. Alex Bowman caught Ty Dillon in practice. That's Mary-Ev Defoe in the number 12 Dodge. Moves to the inside.
Allowing the 41 to the 55 to make their way on the high side. That's Tom Birdie in the 35. They're also going to go by. So Ty Dillon continuing to lead. He has led all 14 laps here at Kansas Speedway, right?
And Ricky's had to make a few different moves in traffic, sometimes going to the inside, sometimes to the outside to make those passes. But Ty just came on the radio and said, guys, I am loose all the way through the corner on both ends. This car needs some adjustment. And as crew chief Flash Nassett said, we'll get you fixed up, baby. Get it on down through there. So far leading here, but very loose for Team 41.
Yeah, Ray, perfect point. And talking to the drivers and crew chiefs earlier, they said, you know what? We don't know what's going to happen. No one has ever raced at Kansas under the lights. We don't know how the track is going to change.
But that has been the trend as we have daytime practice and nighttime races. Usually those racetracks will free up a little bit at night, and that's exactly what Ty Dillon is facing right now as we watch the 33 of Cale Gale. Right now, Cale's running in the 5th spot. Just a few moments ago, that's Milka Dune in the 63 car. Cale goes to go around her. She squeezes him up a little bit. She's trying to get around the 35 of Tom Birdie. Good heads-up move by Cale Gale to jump on the brakes.
It's on the brakes, checks it up, and then was able to make the pass and continues on in the 5th spot. So it's Ty Dillon, Alex Bowman, Chris Buescher, Max Gresham, and Cale Gale. They're your top 5. Scott Lagasse, again, won here in 2007, running in the 6th spot. Grant Enfinger running 7th. McCumbee, Hesser, Tim George Jr., your top 10.
I've seen a lot of cars. Ray was reporting that Ty Dillon is loose. I've seen a lot of cars sliding sideways up off the corner. Right
like
there,
Max Gresham
right there. That's in the middle of the corner, and he's sliding sideways.
Chris Buescher just in front of him. Now, can one of the issues be that they're running behind another race car and they didn't do a lot of that in practice, so maybe a different feel with the aero on these race cars?
It's possible, but usually when you're behind another car close to them, then you're in dirty air and you really get an aero push, which is kind of the opposite of the loose situation. I think it's just a deal where they really didn't know exactly what to expect for the nighttime racing here, and I think as a racetrack gains grip when the temperature goes down, I think the front end sees it first. And that's why you see these racetracks now loosen up, whereas before they used to always tighten up at nighttime.
So again, it's Ty Dillon. He has a 1-second lead over Alex Bowman from Kansas. All green flag laps up to this point, and it's been all Ty Dillon at the front. Sunday NASCAR race day revs up for round 4 of the chase. Carl Edwards joins us live, plus Kurt Busch and crew chief Steve Addington discuss taming that monster mile. NASCAR race day built by the Home Depot, live from Kansas Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Well, I guess the top of the point standings couldn't get a whole lot closer in the Cup Series, could it?
It's almost like the Truck Series right now. You know, and amazingly enough, there's a similarity between the ARCA Racing Series and the Truck Series in the points. Do you know what the similarity is?
No.
You have a Dillon leading and a Buescher in second.
Well, there you go.
Here in the ARCA Series?
Yeah, brothers, yeah.
Brothers,
but
Ty
then
Dillon
cousins in second.
That's right.
Yeah, Chris Buescher and James Buescher are cousins.
And they are currently second in both of their respective series.
Saw a good shot of Ty Dillon's hands. They're working that steering wheel. That thing was a little bit loose. He was having to actually correct back to the right a little bit.
Taking a closer look at Alex Bowman. Again, he's lost a little bit of distance behind that 41. There's a battle for 9th. You see Tom Hesser in the 52 Federated Auto Parts, number 52, that Chevrolet, falling back a spot. Chad Hockenbraw in the 58 going by.
Yeah, nice move by Chad. Is going to open up a big gap on Tom Hesser. Tom gets slowed in practice. That's going to allow Tim George and Frank Kimmel, Tim in the 31, Frank in the 44 to catch him.
Wendy Venerini.
Well, I talked to Donnie Richardson before the race regarding the 52 of Tom Hesser, and he said that, of course, they can go on one stop, but you may see a lot of cars take 2 pit stops tonight because of our weather change that we saw throughout the day. They were expecting high 80 temps earlier today, and it was a little bit overcast, but obviously the sun's gone down, much cooler at nighttime, and the amount of time we had from practice earlier this morning until the race tonight was such a big difference that Donnie said they may take advantage and come down pit road twice in this race. But Donnie's calling his pits from the spotter stand, and Kenny Schrader's on pit road, and they also have David Hyder helping out in the pit area also this weekend at Kansas Speedway. So he's got a lot of full force behind him on the 52 machine, and whether or not they're going to take advantage and come down pit road twice is to be told, but I highly doubt if nobody else is going to do it, they're going to stay out.
And we're going to have a caution in order for them to make 2 pit stops. Right now we've been green flag for 23 complete laps.
On lap number 24 of the 99, battle for 8th. Chad McCumbee trying to hold off the 58 of Chad Hockenbraw. And that caution that we talked about would have to happen has happened. Hearing that there is some debris in turn number 3. And so the first caution comes out on lap 24.
A lot of drivers and crew chiefs now breathing a sigh of relief because they need to get in and make some adjustments on these cars, tighten them up.
We've seen a lot of cars, the back end sliding around. There's that debris over in turn number 3. So
that's not too hard to spot there, is it?
They're going to go to work, clean that up. Seen problems for the 23.
Rob Jones.
He gets pushed back into the pit stall and looks like he'll make the hard left turn into the garage area.
He's in Kenny Schrader's pit right now, the Federated Auto Parts pits. Needs to get out of that pit because Tom Hessert's going to be there in a minute.
Rob Jones, a pilot for UPS, and the free pass goes to the 28 of Ron Cox. So Ron Cox will receive the Aaron's Lucky Dog, get a lap back, as Ron was currently scored 1 lap back in 21st, so that'll make it 21 cars on the lead lap when we go back to green.
It was a fairly large piece of debris back there.
Big piece of sheet metal that had come off of one of the race cars, potentially Rob Jones.
Yeah. Pit road is open right now. The green light is already flashing, so.
And we talked about the pit window being between 60 and 70 laps, but as you mentioned, so many people will want to make adjustments on the race cars and get fuel in this situation where they're not going to be able to make it the entire way, but they'd be pretty close.
Yeah, this is going to be just a little bit outside their pit window. Remember, these cars still have the 22-gallon fuel cells, not the 18-gallon fuel cells like all of NASCAR does.
41 of Ty Dillon dictates what happens on pit road. Everyone following the leader onto pit road. We'll go to Wendy.
It's going to be 4 tires for Alex Bowman. Remember his last time in an ARCA race, he was in victory lane, and it was at Madison. They said the tires fall off so much here, they are opting for 4 tires. No chance of taking 2, but absolutely no adjustments on Alex Bowman's St. Jude's Children's Hospital race car. Ray?
Wendy, Ty Dillon is going to get some adjustments. They're going to make a track bar change. They're going to go down 1 round, and also air pressure in the right front. Ty is talking about being snug in the corners, but very, very loose off. So to fix that loose condition, they will drop the track bar. Talking a little bit on the radio, he heard his grandpa come on, Richard Childress, and say, keep in mind the wind could be affecting your car. My goodness, he will be off pit road very, very early. The next car off will be Cale Gale. Looks like a race. The 20 should be 3rd going out.
Yeah, problem for Chris Buescher. The 17 looked like he stalled at leaving the pits. He will lose 4 spots. Will come out in 7th. Good job by Tim George's guys to get him out in 6th. A gain of 5 spots.
Take a look at what the problems were for that 17.
Yeah, they're going to drop the jack on the left side. It looks like as he dropped it in gear, then the car stalled. Takes a bit sometimes to refire these cars. You see him losing several spots as the guys were trying to push him down pit road.
Yeah, that's a tough situation for the crew guys because while Chris Buescher is trying to fire that engine, he wasn't moving out to the right very far because he didn't want traffic on the right getting in his way, and so he came pretty close to one of the cars that was parked on pit road. We'll be back for the green flag here in Kansas. And welcome back to Kansas Speedway. Coming back onto pit road, the 52 of Tom Hessert. They had a tire roll out of their pit stall while they were making their adjustments to that race car, so he serves a penalty coming back onto pit road.
Yeah, and he will actually have to go to the tail end for this restart here.
Now, one of the things that might end up being an advantage on that is he's a little bit closer to maybe if they stretch it, making it all the way on one more stop.
Yeah, an extra
not making a stop.
Yeah, certainly an extra lap anyway for Tom Hessert. And I would say if the field isn't given 1 to go, then he'll come back down pit road. Might as well get every ounce in there you can.
And the 25 of Max Gresham, again, after starting on the pole, is going to fall back just a bit. After this stop, he is going to restart 11th, right?
Well, Rick, it looks like he lost 5 or 6 spots by being trapped into the box. He drove in a little bit too deep, and the car that pitted in front of him did not pit very well, so they had to back the car up to get him out of the box. So at least 5 or 6 spots were lost on pit road. Not his fault, but definitely losing track position.
So Max Gresham again will restart this race in the 11th spot. Out in front of the field,
it's the 32 of Ryan Wilson. Ryan decided not to pit.
Got his career best finish earlier this year at Pocono, which was 9th. He started this race in the 11th spot.
And Ty Dillon won the race off pit road. He was the first car that came off pit road that made his way down pit road. 4 tires for the 41 car, snugged him up a little bit. 7 wins this year for the 41.
Wendy.
Well, you see the 32, Ryan Wilson did stay out. He's one of the only cars, and that was just trying to work a little bit of strategy from that team to gain some track position. They were twitchy free on the gas on exit, especially according to driver Ryan Wilson. He tried to back up his entry into 3 and 4, but he said he was hooking the left front on the apron to turn in on 3 and 4. So a little bit of feedback from the driver, but they opted not to take advantage of this caution and will restart the leader of this race.
Thanks, Wendy. Again, in the ARCA Racing Series, lap-down cars will still start on the inside, unlike what we're seeing in the NASCAR Racing Series now. So it will be a double-file restart. The difference is lap-down cars are on the left side, and the lead lap cars will be on the outside or the right side when they come back to the start-finish line. See a little discrepancy there. Mariette Defoe's moving up on the inside. We're not going to start 3 wide. I know that.
They shouldn't anywhere. And ARCA will not like that. They'll frown on that for sure.
If that's a discrepancy in positions as far as starting positions, that's normally what they would do prior to getting lined up, and they're all going to fall into line as they come into the trial here at Kansas Speedway. Green flag goes back in the air.
Ty Dillon's going to jump to the outside right away. Scott Lagasse did as well. Scott's in the 20 car. He drives around the 33 of Cale Gale into the 2nd spot.
A great start for Scott Lagasse as he moves up into 2nd in front of Cale Gale. So Ty Dillon back out in front. The only other race leader has been Ryan Wilson when he stayed out under caution.
Alex Bowman now has made his way around the 33 of Cale Gale, moves back up into the 3rd spot.
Battle for 4th now. 36 of Grant Enfinger on the inside. Cale Gale on the outside. Right behind him, Tim George Jr.
Grant Enfinger, one of the drivers that Ray Dunlap was talking about at the beginning of the race. It's been so close so many times to getting win number 1. Hasn't quite got there. Maybe tonight's the night.
Finished 2nd 3 times, most recently at Toledo this year. So he has been oh so close, but hasn't been able to get to victory lane. See Chris Buescher in the 17 making a run just behind that 31.
That car looked pretty loose there through that corner.
Remember Buescher having problems on pit road, couldn't get it refired after they dropped the jack, and he was trying to get out of his pit stall. That's the reason he lost quite a few spots on pit road. They stay side by side. Grant Enfinger on the inside, Cale Gale on the outside.
I'll tell you, Grant was really doing some driving there. You could see his glove on that steering wheel, really fighting that 36 car down in 1 and 2.
Tim George Jr. hugging the white line now as he falls in behind the 36. Cale Gale out in front of that group. Cale currently running in the 4th spot. Alex Bowman up in front of him in 3rd. It's Dillon and Lagasse 1 and 2 here in Kansas.
Yeah, that last lap, 0.3 of a second faster for Ty Dillon than his closest pursuers. See Chris Buescher now jumps to the outside, makes it a 3-wide pass.
Chris Buescher working the high side of the racetrack, and now on the bottom of the racetrack, Tim George Jr. trying to get by Grant Enfinger. So Enfinger dropping back. Looks like he's got his hands full with that 36 car.
Yeah, we saw him fighting that steering wheel, and unfortunately it took a toll on that car. He's lost a couple spots here. Good battle for 2nd now. Alex Bowman moves to the outside of Scott Lagasse and just drives by.
And you see a lot of sparks coming out from under these race cars. Again, they just changed tires, so the air pressure's still having to come up. A lot of things rubbing on the bottom of the race car.
We're going to see now if Alex Bowman can put a dent in that lead that Ty Dillon has. A little bit over a second right now, lead for Ty Dillon.
No cars separate the two, though, up front. So Alex Bowman giving chase to the 41 of Ty Dillon.
Alex was about 0.03 of a second faster that time than Ty Dillon. Remember, he was just completing that pass over Scott Lagasse.
A pole winner, Max Gresham in the 25, trying to get by the 31. Tim George Jr. ran a little higher line through 1 and 2. Down the backstretch, he looks to the inside of that 31.
Remember, just outside their pit window when they pitted lap 25.
There's a distance between 1 and 2. 41 of Ty Dillon leading, and Alex Bowman in the 55 running 2nd.
Again, Alex Bowman was just a couple hundredths of a second faster that time than Ty Dillon. Max Gresham goes ahead and makes that pass on Tim George for the 6th spot.
This race is going quick. 35 of the 99 laps already in the books. Ty Dillon out in front of 31 of the 34 that have been completed.
Yeah, I think right now if the caution were to come out, I think most of these guys would be in their window. They probably would want to come in and get some fuel. ARCA racing officials only give them 2 sets of tires in the pits. Most everyone put that set on that first caution flag, so they only have 1 more set of tires in the pits. So they want to save these because these cars actually slow down 1.5 seconds from the very beginning of the race until that first caution flag.
So Ty Dillon trying to dominate once again at Kansas. Hey, take a look. There's Jared and Caleb. They're saying hi to Mommy. Mommy's Wendy Benarini, and she's on pit road with us. The Kansas ARCA 99 continues here on Speed, your motorsports authority. Just on the west side of the Missouri-Kansas border in Kansas City, Kansas at the Kansas Speedway. And we're under our second caution as the 95 of Michael Levine brings out this caution. Looked as though he was trying to get to pit road, locked the tires up, couldn't get to pit road, and then was slow down on the bottom of the racetrack.
Rick, let's take a look at what happened. You see him sliding sideways there. Caution flag did come out for that spin. Remember now, with 62 laps to go, Michael Levine has a tire going down. It looks like almost hits the wall under caution, trying to make his way back towards pit road. These guys are in their pit window now for fuel. I think they should come in here, get a little bit of fuel, but I think they need to save those tires for a little bit later.
That tire's going to come apart. His spotter needs to be telling him to stay on the apron and slow down because he doesn't want to tear the sheet metal up on the right front of that race car. He's still got a ways to go before he gets back to pit road.
Pit road is open right now.
Milcaduno is going to receive the Aaron's Lucky Dog and get a lap back. Milka was running in the 22nd position, so that will put 22 cars on the lead lap.
Most of our lead lap cars staying on the racetrack. Chad Hockenbraw will be the first car from the 10th spot to come to pit road. We know he will be in his pit window now.
Tom Birdie also in the 35 making his way onto pit road. See the Lucas number 5 of Bobby Gerhart on pit road as well.
Clay Rogers in the 42. You see just fuel and a little bit of a chassis adjustment for Chad Hockenbraw. He's going to save those tires, but now he knows he has enough fuel to get to the end
if he needs it. So the 58 makes its way onto pit road and off. There's Tom Birdie in the 35.
Left side tires go on Tom Birdie's car.
Another one of the Venturini Motorsport entries. There are 5 cars that they have fielded here at Kansas Speedway.
The Tasty Apple 58. Chad Hockenbraw comes off pit road. There's Benny Chastain in the drive-in Hunger 75 car. There's Michael Levine. That's he's trying to get that right front tire off.
They'll have to work a little bit on the right front fender, as again the rubber did a little bit of damage as it was breaking away. They'll change 4 tires on that race car and send him back out onto the track.
Michael was able to stay on the lead lap. He was running in the 16th spot when he had that spin.
He successfully makes his way out of his pit stall and will make it back onto the racetrack. So again, the lap down cars on the inside line. On the outside line are lead lap cars, and that being led by the 41 of Ty Dillon. And that has been a familiar sight this season. 7 times he has gone to victory lane. Has a very big point lead over his closest pursuer, Chris Buescher. Green flag back in the air. Great restart for the top 4 as they race down into turn number 1. Cleared the 12 of Marianne Defoe. She's currently a lap down. 3 wide as they work through 2 and onto the backstretch.
Yeah, Frank Kimmel was on the outside of that 3 wide battle. Now he has cleared those lap cars. You see Frank right there in the bright yellow, number 44, Menards Ansel Ford.
Out in front of the field, Ty Dillon has about a 4/10 of a second lead over Alex Bowman. Scott Lagasse running 3rd. Cale Gale is 4th. Chris Buescher 5th.
You talk about Ty Dillon winning 7 races. He's led 545 laps coming into this race tonight.
An impressive run at a championship here in the ARCA Racing Series. And again, it's formalities that are in front of him before he will be able to hoist the trophy at the end of the year. And again, that race comes just over a week from now. Toledo, the final stop for the ARCA Racing Series, which will be run next Sunday. That will be covered live right here on Speed as well.
Caught a glimpse of the 68 car. That's Will Kimmel, Frank's nephew. Brother Bill is Frank's crew chief. That's his son. He had a great second place run last time out at Salem.
Career best run at Salem, the last race for the ARCA Racing Series. And he's had a couple good finishes as of late. Before that second place finish, he finished 8th at DuQuoin. So some good runs for Will Kimmel and the Kimmel family. Chris Buescher able to get by Max Gresham in the 25. Those two continuing to race nose to tail.
It's a great battle for the 5th spot right there. Meanwhile, Ty Dillon's car is so good right after a restart. We see him running 2 or 3 tenths of a second faster than anybody else on the racetrack. That last lap, 3 tenths of a second faster than Alex Bowman, right now running second.
Ty Dillon has already put almost 8 tenths of a second now between he and second place Alex Bowman. Again, Bowman, what a great story, driving that 55 for Venturini Motorsports. His first ever start came earlier this year at Madison. He goes to Victory Lane. This is his second ever start in the ARCA Racing Series and his first start on a 1.5-mile racetrack.
There's Clay Rogers in the 45 car.
Battling for that 14th spot.
Yeah, that car will be at Toledo next week, driven by 3-time Camping World Truck Series champion Jack Sprague. Good to see Jack back on a race car.
It will be great to see Jack Sprague back in a race car.
And I know Jack's watching. He always watches and he texts us when we say something wrong. So Jack, we look forward to seeing you next week, buddy.
We look forward to seeing you in Toledo, Jack. Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, let's get back up to the front and talk a little bit about our leader, Ty Dillon. The car that they're driving tonight is certainly one of the favorites. This year, Ty has used this particular race chassis to win at Michigan, Iowa, and at Pocono. But what I found interesting by talking to the crew today is the fact that they've actually used 5 different race cars to go to Victory Lane this year. That's 5 of 7 in the stable have won. So they know not only they've got a great driver who's learning a lot throughout the course of the season, but they've got some really incredible equipment. He's won with 5 different cars. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's really a testament to Scott Nassett and his crew, too, for putting together good race cars, as well as Ty getting up on that wheel and getting it done.
They have had the resources, and I think that's what a lot of the competitors have said about what the 41 has been able to do. They've given them the resources to come out here and win a championship, but you've got to have everything work together, and that has been it's been very, very good for him. Bad right now for Scott Lagasse, the 20. Slow on the racetrack and down on the apron. Looks like he's going to make his way onto pit road.
Yeah, it looks possibly terminal for Scott Lagasse. He was running in the 3rd spot before he had this problem. Had a great run going. You hear the car still running. Looks like an ignition situation. He's trying to switch to another box. And again, we talk about the ignition systems of these cars, but it could be a distributor, could be anything really right now, but he's just trying to hit a different switch, different ignition. The car, I'm not even sure it's running right now. It's in gear. That's why it's making noise. You see him take it out of gear. That's why it got quiet.
So he will be making his way onto pit road momentarily as he rolls out of turn number 4 and onto pit road. Venturini Motorsports folks up on the wall taking a look at what's happening to that Live Prepared number 20.
Yeah, that's his dad, Scott Lagasse Sr. on the left side of your screen. He's a former winner in the ARCA Racing Series.
At a road course,
At a road course.
It was in Iowa.
Downtown.
That's right.
Street race in, I believe, Des Moines, Iowa.
Battle for the 4th spot. Chris Buescher still out in front of Max Gresham.
Max restarted this race on lap 29 in the 10th spot, has made his way up to the 5th spot.
Austin Dillon continuing to lead. Last time on pit road was lap 25 when they came on to pit road. That's Ty Dillon again out front. 49 laps complete. We've closed in on the halfway point of this race. Just 99 laps.
Sideways for the 25 of Gresham up off turn 2.
Ray Dunlap, what's happening on pit road?
Well, Rick, I just got a good idea because you were mentioning Scott Lagasse Sr. and Jr. Both of them have gone to victory lane in the ARCA series. So let's think about father and son combinations that have won. There are 8 of them in the series history here of fathers and sons that have each won. How many of them can you name?
Lagasse. Can I start with that one?
How about Jack and Bobby Bowser?
Bowser, yeah.
Both
That's
champions.
one.
Both champions in the ARCA
That's
series.
2 now, Ray. You can't discount me
Okay,
getting
that's
Lagasse.
2.
How about
That's 2.
how about Bill Kimmel and Frank Kimmel?
There you go.
Yeah, Bill Sr.
Yeah.
That's
Bill
3
Sr.
of 8.
We'll get back to you, Ray.
Yeah, well, you got to give us a commercial break to start thinking about that. As Max Gresham continues to try to chase down Chris Buescher. Buescher has about a 0.7 of a second lead over Gresham. Again, Gresham grabbing his 3rd career pole.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
I'm going to post the answer on Twitter, so tell Phil he can look it up there.
Well,
It's going to be hard for me to look
we do
it up
call
there.
him Twirtless Phil.
No problems
Problem
on the racetrack.
Buster Graham once again in the 59. The last time on speed, he went over a guardrail. This time, a lot more tame. The 59 slides to a stop on the grass infield, just on the inside of turn number 4.
You talked to Mark Gibson, the car owner for that 59 car, and this is a brand new car to them. They just purchased this car from Roush Fenway. This is an ex-Nationwide car. Nice looking race car.
Take a look at what happened coming through 3.
He's going around the outside of Darrell Basham. Looks like he just got in the corner a little bit too hot, got a little bit sideways on the outside of Darrell. Does a nice job keeping that car down off the racetrack.
Riding along with him. That's Scott Lagasse riding along with his
Obviously,
Esau
Scott
in front.
back on the racetrack now. They made repairs to his car and got him back on the racetrack.
Yeah, what an amazing ride he had the last time we were on speed. Again, he's driving the 59. The contact happens in front of him. Some cars avoiding that, and he's one of them in the 59 and up and over that 3-foot-high guardrail on the inside of Pocono.
Hey, that thing's over 3 foot wide. I'm telling you, that was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
A race car going sideways, and we talked to Buster after that incident, and he said, all I could see was that wall sliding up, and I thought I was going to slam right into it, and the next thing you know, there wasn't contact. And he said, well, I don't remember what happened, and then all of a sudden, I was sliding through the infield.
I thought he was going to jump it on the other side, jump back on towards the racetrack.
So after spinning through turn number 3, the 59 makes his way onto pit road, as well as the leaders of this race. And out in front, Ty Dillon making his way to his pit stall. Before we go to him, we go to Wendy.
Alex Bowman comes to a stop. It was a little bit tough on getting the fuel can in. It's going to be fuel only, a little bit of strategy stop, and no adjustments right now for the 55. Ray, what about your end?
Well, Wendy, this is one of those times where you really don't want to be the leader because you're not quite sure what to do. They were thinking they don't want to put tires on right now, but Flash, the crew chief on Ty Dillon's car, said we don't want to give up all of that opportunity against the guys behind us. If we stay out, you know they'll pit, so they came for fuel only.
I think it's a great call. You have to get the fuel to get in your pit window. They know that they can make it the rest of the way, but I hate to put my last set of tires on with 46 laps to go. Some of the drivers did. Frank Kimmel, you just saw him leaving pit road. He was one of the drivers that did put tires on. I'd like to have fresh tires for 15, 20 laps to go.
And the reason for this third caution coming out, the 59 of Buster Graham, not quite as wild a ride as he had in Pocono, but he does bring the caution flag out. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Ansel. For over 100 years, the world leader in hand protection. And by Kumho Tires, introducing the new Extra 4X. Forget the forecast, Kumho Tires. Let's go. Welcome back under our third caution. This one for Buster Graham getting turned around in turns 3 and 4. No contact made, so the field made their way onto pit road.
You know, we showed Scott Lagasse flipping switches in his car. You can see right here the problem we found out. Now, Ray reported on it during our commercial break that he had a battery go bad. A lot of these teams will have 2 batteries in the car. Scott, because this is a strange car to him, didn't know where the switch was for the second battery. We talked about it, him switching ignition switches. That wasn't the problem. It was a battery problem because these Mallory ignition boxes have been pretty indestructible.
You know, one of the biggest costs of running a stock car program in any division has to do with what's under the hood. The engine program certainly costs you a lot of money. And we were approaching engines that were turning 10,000 RPMs. But the ARCA series presented by Menards came up with a good solution about 7 years ago. They went to Mallory Ignitions and said, how can we keep these engines from turning so many RPMs? Well, with the ignition box that the ARCA cars have right now, they're limited to 8,800 RPMs. And when the cars come through the inspection line here, the officials actually draw out a random number and give them an assigned ignition box system. Now, there's an A box and a B box, of course, in case you run into a problem. And there are 7,500 times these have been into a car over the course of 7 years, and they're approaching nearly 1,000,000 miles without a major failure. This is a great system that limits the RPMs and saves the race car owners lots and lots of money.
You know, that was a pretty good idea for him to record that earlier, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so, too. I don't know how he knew what I was going to talk about, but that's great.
Your point.
Yeah.
Exactly how good Mallory ignition systems are here in the ARCA Racing Series. Field all in line once again behind that 41 of Ty Dillon. And coming back to the green flag, Dillon just in front of Alex Bowman, both with a great restart.
Remember, we have some cars behind these leaders with fresh tires. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be able to drive by him with those fresh tires. Right now, Cale Gale is going to move up. He gets by Tim George.
What will the advantage be with fresher tires? We're about to find out. Again, Ty Dillon coming onto pit road, just getting fuel so that he would make sure to be able to make it the remaining 43 laps in this race.
Right now, the thing that Ty Dillon has going for him is the fact that most of the cars immediately behind him are in the same situation as he is. They just put fuel only that time.
Alex Bowman running second. Chris Buescher in the 17 is third. Cale Gale's moved up into the fourth spot, and then it's Tim George Jr. in fifth.
Remember that Scott Lagasse, that black number 20 car, he's 1 lap down right now because of that battery situation. Only lost 1 lap, but right now we have a lucky dog in the ARCA Racing Series, but no wave around. That's why right now Scott had to restart this race side by side with Ty Dillon.
And Scott Lagasse's currently scored in the 20th spots. We have 19 cars on the lead lap. Mariette Defoe, the most recent recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog, she is at the tail end of the lead lap.
That was a nice gift from Mariette. Glad to see her back here. She hasn't run the last few races in ARCA Racing Series. Good to have her back.
Yeah, after a very impressive, I think, run at Pocono, where she came from the back and made it all the way up to a 13th place.
I believe it was, yeah. Nice job on Mariette. Talked to her in the garage, and she will be at Toledo next week for our finale.
Chris Buescher on the inside. On the outside, that 55, Alex Bowman. So Buescher able to take the spot away from Bowman, moves up into the second position now, giving chase to that 41 of Ty Dillon.
Yeah, that's about the first car we've seen pass Alex Bowman this race. So right now, Chris Buescher's car, they may have made some adjustments on that last pit stop. Only got fuel, but right now the adjustments may be working for him. There's Tom Hessert, the 52 Federated Auto Parts, pink number 52.
Chad Hockenbrot trying to move to the inside of that 32. Ryan Wilson able to make the pass.
Chad able to make the pass on the Tasty Apple car. That's the same car he had in Chicago, and he was on his way to winning that race in Chicago. Ty Dillon, who ended up winning the race, said, I have nothing for the 58. He cut down a right front tire, made contact with the wall. Ty Dillon ended up winning that race, but Chad's been close since then. Hasn't got to victory lane yet, though.
Hockenbrot running in the 12th spot now. It's been all Ty Dillon. He has been dominant, leading 56 of the 60 laps here at Kansas Speedway. Being chased now by Alex Bowman. Welcome back to Kansas Speedway. We take a look at our mid-race recap, brought to you by Messina. Out in front of this field at the beginning, it was Max Gresham in the 25, but early on, the 41 of Ty Dillon wanted to lead the first lap, and he gets there.
He certainly did from the second row starting spot. Ty Dillon jumps out and dominates early.
First caution came out. The field came onto pit road, and problems for the 17 of Chris Buescher after running well in the top 5. He'll have to restart outside the top 10 and work his way back up. Michael
Levine in the 95 car brings out caution number 2. Gets turned around, has a flat right front tire, makes his way back to pit road.
Third caution comes out when Buster Graham in the 59 gets sideways, working his way through 3 and 4 into the grass. No contact with any of the walls or other cars. So a relatively easy spin through the grass. Messina Wildlife Management mid-race recap. Ty Dillon has been out front and a lot of laps led as we Saw Tim George Jr. in the background there make his way onto pit road, and smoke coming out from behind that race car.
That might have been brakes right there. Wendy, did he lock the brakes up coming in?
Well, we are watching the 31 come in right now. We weren't sure if he did lock them on that last stop, but he took fuel only on that last caution. But definitely a right front was going down, was the report from Tim George. So we'll get a look at that tire. But it's going to be a 4-tire stop right now for Tim George. And he had come in, had restarted 4th, dropped back to 7th. So this definitely ruins Tim George's day. And they are holding him for too fast entering pit road, a penalty that Tim George Jr. has to serve now. And you can just see through the window net Tim's face. I know this is just killing a driver, and he's been cleared to get back on the track.
Yeah, Wendy, he was running in the 7th spot right now, or when he made his pit stop. See Max Gresham also getting by Alex Bowman, right side of your screen. Meanwhile, left side, Rick, Chris Buescher has closed up the gap from 1st to 2nd.
Yeah, things are heating up. The last time by, it was just over 1/10 of a second that separated the top two. That time by, 2/10 of a second were gained by Ty Dillon. So Chris Buescher now 3/10 of a second behind race leader Ty Dillon.
There's teammate to Ty Dillon, Tim George, after he comes back on the racetrack. I think he still has some sort of an issue with his car. He's a little bit tentative right there, although he got in the throttle good in the center of the corner.
Yeah, again, thought he had a tire coming down, a right front tire, so he came onto pit road. Here's a good battle for the 9th spot. Chad McCumbee in front of Tom Hessert. Hessert making the move on the inside, and McCumbee chases his race car up the racetrack.
I think Tom may be one of the guys that put tires on that most recent caution flag.
A little bit of damage, it looks like, to the left front of Chad McCumbee's race car, that number 1. So maybe a little bit ill handling for McCumbee.
Still maintaining a top 10 spot right now, running in the 9th spot. Tom Hessert back to 10th.
So it's Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Cale Gale, Max Gresham, Alex Bowman, Grant Enfinger, Matt Lofton, Frank Kimmel running in the 8th spot, Tom Hessert 9th, and McCumbee is 10th.
Hey, remember, that's the same Matt Lofton that spun out qualifying, had to start at the back, and that Strutmasters.com Chevrolet. That's Coulter Motorsports. That's the same team that Joey Coulter ran for the last 2 years in the ARCA Racing Series. Matt doing a great job right now, looking at possibly going full-time next year in that car with Coulter Motorsports.
There's Cale Gale closing the gap on the 2nd place, Chris Buescher now. So after Buescher was oh so close to Ty Dillon to challenge him for the lead, now he's got his hands full with Cale Gale just behind him in that ream number 33.
This is Cale's 3rd start. He finished 2nd at Iowa, but remember, he was dominating that race at Michigan when he cut down the right front tire and made contact with the wall, end up giving that win to Ty Dillon. So Cale's been extremely fast in this KHI Ream Chevrolet.
Philzy,
yeah, buddy.
you ready for a clue on my trivia?
Oh, I forgot all about that, Ray. Sorry about that.
Didn't we already name all 8?
No, you only got 3 of the 8. This is fathers and son combinations who have won in this series. 2 of the groups come from your hometown, Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan. Well, I know 2 brothers from Detroit, Michigan won in the ARCA Series.
Ray, this was the piece of paper you handed Ron Drager earlier today, wasn't it?
We've been working on it for quite some time.
Because you said, don't give up any of the names on that list, but I want you to look at it. ARCA Racing Series President Ron Drager was helping Ray out a little bit with this list, I believe. But talking about fathers and sons that have won in the ARCA Racing Series, as we continue to watch the great racing on the racetrack, Cale Gale in front of that 25 of Max Gresham, but still chasing after the 17 of Chris Buescher.
Hey, that's 1st through 4th right there, just separated by no more than about a second.
So Max Gresham coming back into the picture in this race after winning the pole earlier today, now challenging for the 3rd spot with Cale Gale just in front of him.
And Max's car looks better than it has the entire race right now. Has chased down this 2nd place battle of Buescher and Cale Gale.
Buescher taking a higher line into turn number 1. Still working around some of the slower lap traffic here. They go by the 98 of Chad Freewald.
What a great battle for 2nd here. Looked like Chris Buescher was going to chase down that 41 of Ty Dillon and have something for him. Now he has his mirror full of Cale Gale and Max Gresham.
So while Ty Dillon continues to tack on the laps, Dillon actually has gone over 600 laps led in 2011. An amazing statistic by that young man. And again, Ty Dillon putting together some phenomenal numbers this year at just the age of 19. Tim George Jr. again coming on to pit road. Thought they had problems with the right front of that race car. Still problems, Wendy?
No, I checked in with the tire specialist, and the tire pressures were fine on all the tires, including the right front, that there was a feeling that it was going down for Tim George Jr. So definitely, I know I've never been in the driver's seat, Phil, but you can maybe explain that what a driver could be feeling in the race car when a tire they feel like is going down.
It's just something different. I mean, for some reason, the car feels different than it did before. Remember, we had green flag pit stop. There was a possibility that maybe Tim slid the tires coming in for his pit stop that he didn't change tires on, so there may have been a little bit of a flat spot or something like that on one of his front tires.
Now the 25 of Gresham able to get by Cale Gale. So Max Gresham has moved up into the third spot now and trying to take second away from Chris Buescher. He goes all the way down to the apron to make the pass, and Max Gresham back up into the second spot.
Tell you, Max Gresham was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap while he was making a pass.
The second fastest race car, Ty Dillon, out in front of this field. And right now it's 9/10 of a second that separate the top two. They continue to work around the slower lap traffic. It's been all Ty Dillon, but here comes pole winner Max Gresham. He's in second and hungry here in the ARCA Racing Series. Wednesday night Dumbest Stuff on Wheels is back with an all-new episode. We promise you, I know it's hard that you laugh at someone's misery, but you will laugh at this stuff. It is great. Don't miss more painful lessons learned the hard way on an all-new Dumb Stuff on Wheels. That's Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
There's some really dumb stuff.
I'm telling you, it is hard not to laugh. You know that these people have to be getting injured or hurt, but at the same time, it is comedy. And it's on Wednesday night right here on Speed. Chris Buescher. Yeah, go ahead. Give me
another few.
Give me a clue.
Okay, how about Hueytown, Alabama?
Yeah, the Allisons. I've got the Petties, Ray.
Venerini.
I've got the Venerinis,
yeah.
And I've got the Churchills from Detroit.
Wow, you've done pretty good.
Hey, that was a long commercial, right?
You've done pretty good. You're still missing one.
I know it.
All right.
We'll get it, though. Don't worry. Ray threw a question to us earlier in the broadcast about fathers and sons winning in the ARCA Racing Series, and he said there are 8 father-sons that have done it. You know what the other one is? It's easy.
Keselowski.
It's Keselowski. Keselowski family.
And not Brad Keselowski.
No, Brian.
Brian Keselowski and his dad, Bob.
That's right. Bob, a champion in the series.
That's right.
So Chris Buescher still out in front of Cale Gale. Those two are racing for the third spot as Max Gresham has now closed the gap on race leader Ty Dillon. Dillon has a 0.2 of a second lead over Gresham, but remember, it used to be 0.9 of a second. So Max Gresham on the run now and is closing in on that 41, looking to challenge for the lead as they go through the tri-oval here in front of the grandstand. Down to the bottom of the racetrack goes Ty Dillon, all the way to the apron. Staying up high was the 25 of Max Gresham.
Just a matter of time before Max gets by him. He was so much better through the center and off the corner. Out the other end of the racetrack, let's see what he can do off of 2. He's going to follow him down the backstretch. He gets down to center at 3 and 4. That's when he really made his move and gained all that ground up right here. Let's see if he can do it again. So there he goes.
Last time by the front stretch, it was Ty Dillon going to the bottom of the racetrack. Here comes Max Gresham. Gresham gets by the 41 as they cross the stripe. Gresham is your race leader.
Strong run, but Ty Dillon fights back with the momentum from the outside.
That charge after he went by the start-finish line by the 41 of Ty Dillon. Gresham so strong through 3 and 4, but Ty Dillon stronger around the rest of the racetrack.
This is where Max is so strong, though, through the center of the corner. Let's see if the higher groove works for Ty. Doesn't look like he's going way high. Look, you could see the firefly out of the exhaust pipe. He had to get out of the throttle, but he's going to maintain the lead.
Able to stay out in front of that 25 now and put some distance between himself and Max Gresham. That time, just over 0.2 of a second separating the top 2 cars.
Only 18 laps to go right now. You see Max's car being able to hug that white line on the bottom. Ty's not able to keep that car down on the bottom like he was earlier.
Ty Dillon has his hands full now, looking for win number 8 of the 2011 season, but it's Max Gresham in the 25 that's looking for his first win of 2011.
He's got him cleared.
Goes by the 41. Will there be a crossover move by the 41? Goes back down to the apron, but it's still Gresham out in front.
What a couple of weeks it could be for Max Gresham, winning the K&N Pro Series East Division Championship last week, and now coming here and maybe winning an ARCA race.
Gresham's been to victory lane one time before in his career. It was Mansfield back in 2010. Talk about the championship. He won it a week ago at Dover. Now looking to go to victory lane one more time in the ARCA Racing Series. Ty Dillon continues to chase here at Kansas. Wednesday on Speed, catch an all-new episode of My Ride Rules. See 4 car fanatics face off in the wildest car competition ever. Don't miss an all-new episode of My Ride Rules. That's also Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on Speed. Still Ty Dillon chasing after Max Gresham. Gresham now has a 0.7 of a second lead over Ty Dillon. Dillon, after leading 76 laps of this race with just 15 laps to go, now chasing after Max Gresham.
I think Ty right now, to get back to Max Gresham, he's going to need a caution flag. He's going to need to put tires, make an adjustment. There's a good battle for fourth. Grant Enfinger now moves up on Cale Gale. Watch him go by on the inside.
Enfinger working the bottom of the racetrack and does it very well as he gets by the Ream Impala, but right back on the outside, Cale Gale getting back into the gas just a bit quicker coming out of turn number 4, and he wins the race into turn 1.
Graham wasn't able to clear him up off of 4. Cale had the momentum from the high side. Let's see if he can clear him off of 2. He's got him.
So Enfinger up into that 4th spot. Chris Buescher running in front of him in 3rd. Max Gresham, your race leader. Ty Dillon, Chris Buescher, Grant Enfinger, Cale Gale, the top 5. Matt Lofton, Alex Bowman, Frank Kimmel, Tom Hessert, and Chad McCumbee, your top 10.
Boy, Michael Levine pulled right up in front of Max Gresham. Max was going to go around the high side. He stays in front of him. That's going to allow Ty to gain a little ground on him.
Michael Levine running in the 16th spot. He is a lap down. Again, trying to race for that Aaron's lucky dog. Will Kimmel right now running 15th, and he is the first car scored 1 lap down. Gresham setting a pretty good pace here at Kansas Speedway, though, so he is looking to put Sean Corr a lap down. That'll be the next lap down car that he gets to.
We saw Grant Enfinger take over that 4th spot from Cale Gale. We got a report from the pits that he did indeed put 4 tires on that last caution flag, so he's using them now, gaining some spots.
Sliding coming out of turn number 2 is the 41 of Ty Dillon, Ray.
And Rick, we documented that on lap 53, they chose to go with fuel only and no tires for Ty Dillon's car, and his car has gone very, very tight. Now what they're trying to do is and he's up into the wall, and there's a crash on the racetrack.
41 of Ty Dillon trying to go to the outside of the 95 of Michael Levine. Levine goes up the racetrack, pinches the 41 into the wall, bringing out our 4th caution.
Yeah, that was a situation we saw Max Gresham have trouble getting by the 95 of Michael Levine. Ty Dillon was definitely on the outside. Michael Levine came up like he wasn't there. Not sure if the spotter didn't see him. You see all the damage to the 41 of Ty Dillon.
So with just 11 laps of racing remaining, they'll have to bring that race car onto pit road, probably put 4 new tires on it, and he will have to come from 13th back.
I think some more people are going to come to pit road and get those fresh tires as well.
It'll be a race to the checkered flag. Again, next time by, it will be 10 laps of racing to go. Let's see what just happened.
See him on the outside. Michael Levine, the 95, is going to pull up to see him down. Right now, he's on the bottom. Now he's going to pull up like Ty's not even there. Squeezes him into the outside wall. Did not give Ty enough room.
And most of the damage just to the left front of that 41. Ty Dillon was able to keep the race car off the wall.
Yeah, see, I think that was a situation, a heads-up move by Ty. Instead of moving way, way up and running in the outside wall, he may make a little contact with the outside wall. He's going to try to keep that car left, so he only has damage on the left side.
So once they open up pit road, We'll see the 41 and how many others will take to pit road to see if they need to change tires and get the fresh Hoosiers on these race cars so that they can make a sprint to the finish.
You talk about being the leader, and you're the one that dictates it right now. Max Gresham is leader. He knows that the 41 of Ty Dillon's going to come to pit road and get 4 tires. Is he going to stay out, though? There's our lucky dog, Sean Core, is going to get back on the lead lap, and that will give us 14 cars on the lead lap.
Max Gresham, the decision for that 25 team. Billy Venturini making the calls for that team as they make their way by the opening to pit road. Gresham is going to stay out. We knew the 41 of Ty Dillon was going to come on to pit road. Gresham stays out.
Is that Alex Bowman, the 55, coming down pit road?
Bowman is going to make the decision to come on to pit road.
There's Chad McCumbee, Chad Hockenbraw, Ryan Wilson. The good news for Max Gresham, he's going to have a lot of cars between him and these guys with 4 tires.
A little bit of a cushion. Wendy Venturini.
Alex Bowman coming down, taking advantage. It's going to be 4 tires for Alex. The last time down pit road, it was fuel only. You saw what that did. Now, we do know his race car got very tight, and he wanted to be freed up, so that's exactly the adjustments they're making to Alex's car. Ray, on your end.
Wendy, it was a 375-point lead that Ty Dillon brought into this race tonight, but there is damage on both sides of this race car. You see the left front fender, they're going to have to do a lot of work there. His grandpa, Richard Childress, was on the radio saying, make sure you get those fenders away from the tires. They'll do a 4-tire change here. This will be lap 90, and they're going to beat that fender away. Ty also saying a little bit of the hood buckled up. The crew continues to work on this car as they want to make sure that they have plenty of clearance so he does not blow out a tire and get a DNF tonight here at Kansas.
Looking at the big picture, which is very smart for this team, they are about to win a championship. They don't want to ruin that opportunity on looking at the smaller picture of maybe winning at Kansas once again. We'll be back for the restart here at Kansas Speedway next. Sunday, as soon as the Cup race from Kansas ends, turn to Speed for expanded post-race coverage you can't get anywhere else. Watch NASCAR Victory Lane, fueled by Sunoco, after every Sprint Cup Series race right here on Speed. And that's where it will all take place, right there in Victory Lane.
Right after the race is over. There's Ty Dillon making his way back around. I think right now Alex Bowman will restart 9th, and he will be the top running car that made his way to pit road that last time.
We're inside of 10 laps to go in the ARCA Racing Series. The lap down cars will no longer be allowed to come to the inside to make it double file restart. So we'll have a single file restart. Out in front of the field will be Max Gresham. That's a great thing for Gresham as far as not have to race any lap down cars, but it also might be a little bit of a disadvantage for him because he's going to have some cars back there with fresher tires.
Yeah, that's right. I'd say right now, I think Alex Bowman is possibly in the driver's seat of the guys that got tires. Ty Dillon, we don't know how much damage he has, but I just want to give a call to Matt Lofton in that 16 car. He has made his way up into the top 5. Remember, he had to start all the way at the back from spinning out qualifying. He had a good car in practice. There's Matt right there in the strutmasters.com Chevrolet, looking maybe to go full-time with his Coulter Motorsports team. It's got John Wolf, our championship crew chief winner last year with Patrick Shelter on the box. Great job by that team tonight.
Ray, what else with that 16 team?
Well, I just wanted to add to that the fact that they pitted on 25 and 53. That's when they got their 4 tires. And Matt has been on the radio saying this car is hooked up, it's on a rail, and I can take it way to the high side and go where no one else is. So keep an eye on that 16, Phil and Rick. It may be that he's going to the high side to make some passes here and move his way even closer to the front.
It might get busy up there on the high side because I think those guys with fresh tires are going to look for someplace to go to. Alex Bowman and Chad Hockenbraw, Chad McCumbee, all those guys as well as Ty Dillon.
We always hear pass where they're not, and it might be that high line that some of these guys with fresher tires will take to try to get by the guys who have quite a few laps on their tires. Again, last time they were on pit road, lap 53.
Yeah, that's 40 laps on these tires, and those guys from 9th on back with fresh tires. So it's going to be really interesting. We saw these speeds fall off a second and a half over the course of that 40-lap run. So we know these cars with fresh tires are going to be fast. Are they going to have enough time, though, with only 6 to go when we restart?
Yeah, when they get back to the start-finish line, just 6 laps of racing to go. Max Gresham, again, looking for his second ever win in the ARCA Racing Series. How about just behind him in the 17, Chris Buescher, He's been to victory lane 4 times, and most recently the last 2 races. So he's been extremely strong. And we talked earlier about Grant Enfinger. Has never been to victory lane. So his opportunity to get to victory lane for the first time may come tonight here at Kansas.
Yeah, Cale Gale, who has been a winner in this series, as well as finishing second at Iowa early this year in a limited run.
Lights have come back on the pace car, so they're going to go around one more time. That gives us an opportunity to take another quick break. We'll be back for the restart here in the Kansas ARCA 99 on Speed, your motorsports authority. Wednesday night, don't miss an all-new episode of the Car Show with Adam Carolla as they debut the first televised test drive of the highly anticipated luxury hybrid, the Fisker Karma. Watch the Car Show Wednesday night, 10 Eastern, only on Speed.
We're going to have a Fisker Karma here for about 5 laps.
I think it's going to be a fisticuff is what we're going to see here in just a second. Again, Max Gresham out in front, Chris Buescher running second. When they come to the stripe, it'll be 5 laps of racing remaining.
These guys need to get lined up here. This is really hurting those guys with fresh tires. Every lap we run under caution is 1 less lap. They're going to be able to make some time up.
There are 14 cars on the lead lap. Gresham out in front, Buescher, Enfinger, Gale, and Matt Lofton. They're your top 5. Then it's Frank Kimmel, Tom Hessert, Blankenship, Alex Bowman running 9th, and Chad Hockenbraugh in 10th. McCumbee, Wilson, Ty Dillon, and Sean Core. Those are the 14 that are on the lead lap. Will Kimmel, the first car a lap down, running in the 15th spot.
Going to be 5 laps to go. Max Gresham needs to get a good restart here. Try to open up some space.
Doesn't want to spin the tires on the restart and open the door for a Chris Buescher or a Grant Enfinger to get a jump on him as they come back through the triangle. Green flag back in the air. He spun his tires as they go to the green.
He sure did. Now Chris Buescher's going to jump to the inside. He's got a little bit of momentum.
Buescher trying to take advantage of the mishap on the restart. He takes the lead away from that 15. Grant Enfinger tucks into 3rd. Here comes Cale Gale to the outside for 3rd.
Watch, here comes Alex Bowman. Now Alex is already up to the 6th spot. He's going to move to the inside of the 16 of Matt Lofton. Here comes Bowman with 4 tires.
Those are the 4 fresher tires they talked about. Alex Bowman moves up another position. So Bowman up to the 5th spot as they cross the stripe and working their way around this 1.5 miles.
Can Chris Buescher make it 3 in a row? Can he get there before Alex Bowman does?
Chris Buescher trying to hold off. Max Gresham, his car gets better the longer runs. He's not going to have a longer run, though, here with just 4 laps to go.
Bowman's up to 4th now. I'm telling you, he has enough time to get there.
Alex Bowman in the 55 and the 41 of Ty Dillon making a charge as well after getting into trouble. Bringing out the most recent caution, he's up to 9th.
Gresham went wide, had to get out of the throttle. That opened up the door for Grant Enfinger. And here comes Bowman in the 55.
3 laps to go. 3 wide as they make their way through the turn. Sideways is Max Gresham on the high side. Alex Bowman passes both Gresham and Enfinger for 2nd. Here comes Bowman.
He's got 2.5 laps to do it, and he's going to get him. There's going to be no match for those 4 new tires.
Alex Bowman on the high side, making his 2nd ever start in the ARCA Racing Series. His first start at Madison ended up in victory lane. Now with just 2 laps to go, he's in front of the field here in Kansas.
What a great call by Jonathan Davis. He gave up a top 10 running position, said, I know 4 tires, I know what they're going to mean here, and it's going to get him a victory.
If I have enough laps, it'll get me to the front. They've had enough laps. He's out in front of the field. Next time by, they'll see the white flag here at Kansas. Alex Bowman, what an impressive performance he's putting on tonight at just 18 years old. This Tucson, Arizona native sees the white flag. 1 lap to go.
And he's going to go 2 for 2 in his career in the ARCA Racing Series. What a great ride he's given St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in that 55 Venturini car.
An impressive performance by this young man. The 55 of Alex Bowman wins his first ever start at Madison, comes to the biggest racetrack he's ever raced on in a stock car, and will go to victory lane. Alex Bowman, your winner at Kansas.
Those guys were no match for him with those fresh tires. I think Ty Dillon had some damage to this car. He only got back to the 7th spot, but what a great job by Alex Bowman and Jonathan Davis and that crew to bring him to pit road and give up that top 10 spot.
Venturini celebrating. They'll head back to victory lane. This time it's Alex Bowman in the 55 that'll take him there. Chris Buescher, an amazing run he has made at this championship. The last 3 races goes victory lane the last 2, and now will finish second here at Kansas. Grant Enfinger coming home third, Gresham fourth, Cale Gale in fifth.
I don't think Alex wants to stop.
He's going to continue.
He's going to keep on rolling just to make sure.
He's got such good tires, he wants to burn them down. Let's go down pit road and Wendy Venturini.
A lot of celebration, obviously, from crew chief Jonathan Davis. How did you make that call with that many little laps to go to take on 4 tires? What a chance.
We were just so tight there. We really had nothing to lose. And I thought more of them were going to come. We were going to take 2 and try and beat them on track position. But Alex drove a heck of a race. It was awesome. I just want to thank everybody here at Venturini Motorsports. I want to say hi to my girls at home and my girlfriend. And I want to get a kiss from this big guy right here.
And that would be Big Bill, as everyone affectionately calls him. Yeah, Dad likes to give big kisses on TV.
I just want to thank St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They came on board with us this weekend, and we wanted to put them in victory lane, and we did. J.D. Peoples is here from St. Jude's Research Hospital, and I told him we were going to put him in victory lane tonight, and by God, I held my word.
All right, congratulations to you. You go celebrate. It's 2 for 2 for Alex Bowman in the 55.
And there are very few people, if any, that won their first 2 ARCA Racing Series races in their first start. Very impressive for Alex Bowman.
Yeah, what a great job by his crew. Great pit call by Jonathan Davis.
At just 18 years old, Bowman will be in victory lane, and we'll hear from him next. Coverage of the ARCA Racing Series on Speed is brought to you by Messina Wildlife Management. Stop animal damage with Messina Wildlife Management. And by Aaron's. You don't need credit. All you need is Aaron's. And all Alex Bowman needed was fresh tires to get to the front, and he made it to victory lane. Let's go there now.
Alex Bowman is going to climb from his machine. That 2 for 2 for Venturini Motorsports, and Alex Bowman, his second career start in the ARCA REMAX Series, getting doused with some lovely liquids right there for the young 18-year-old. Alex, I talked to you before the race. Talk to your father. How important is it for you to get this victory tonight? 2 for 2. Nobody has ever done that in the ARCA Series.
Man, I don't even know what to say. I just got to thank Jonathan Davis and all the guys that worked so hard. That's a true story about never giving up, because we were flat junk before that caution came out. We were going straight backwards. So just got to think it's cool to have St. Jude's on board for this race, and I think it's one of my mom's first races she's ever watched of me. So it's pretty exciting to have her watching back home. So I just can't thank everybody enough. It was awesome.
With the 2 stops to go, you took fuel only. It was looking pretty ugly. I know you were really tight. How worried were you when you took 4 tires with that many little laps?
Yeah, the Venturini Motorsports number 55 Toyota got real tight there. We picked up a vibration, thought we had a loose wheel. It was looking like our race wasn't going to end very well. And that caution came out, and Jonathan's like, come get tires. I'm like, man, we can still win this with 9 to go. So I just can't thank them all enough. They did an awesome job.
So what happens when you start your 3rd ARCA race? What can we expect from Alex Bowman?
Shoot, I think we got to get some funding to just get that far first. But I'd love to go to Toledo. I'd also love to go to Daytona. So hopefully we'll get some funding and get back in the 55 Venturini Motorsports car.
All right, congratulations to Alex Bowman. He's going to celebrate big time for this young guy, getting a congratulatory kiss from Big Bill Venturini. Gotta love that, right, Ray Dunlap?
Wendy, I'm back in the garage, and of course, always it's not the fastest car that wins, and tonight that's certainly the case. Ty, I know you're disappointed about the other car putting you into the wall, but here's the good news. Next week, all you got to do is start at Toledo, and you're a champion.
Yeah, that's a good feeling, but I hate these guys work so hard on this car, and we led all those laps and dominated like that. And when you're lapping cars every 3 laps, you expect they can at least get out of your way. Just disappointed. I hate it happened like that. These guys worked so hard on this car. Our car got a little tight, and the 25 ran us down, but I started to find something there at the end, started coming back to him. It was going to be a good race, but, man, what can you say about something like that? But just disappointed, but we'll move on and go win that championship next week.
All right, it'll be a big fun next weekend when we get to Toledo. Ty Dillon finishes, what, 7th tonight, right, guys?
Yeah, 7th place finish. He has 335 points in front of 2nd place Chris Buescher. And as Ray mentioned, all he has to do is start the race, and he will be the 2011 champion.
Yeah, but what a great season it's been here in the ARCA Racing Series. Alex Bowman has proved that he's now a name to be reckoned with in motorsports.
And how about the kisses that Bill Venturini was handing out? You! I'm not so sure I want to win. Well, okay, I'd want to win in this series. An impressive run for Alex Bowman. 2nd career start, 2nd career win in the ARCA Racing Series.